Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from the WhatDoIDo subreddit and says, my boyfriend says I'm unambitious and is questioning our relationship. For context, I, 22 female, am a high school English teacher in Scotland. I've just finished my probation year, the first year of being a teacher in Scotland, where you are heavily supported by the school you are in and are observed by the General Teaching Council to check you are up to the job essentially. I'm a teacher at this age because in Scotland you can go to university at 17, which I did. I've worked really hard and I'm immensely proud of how far I've come by this age, and nearly burned out a fair few times blasting through my dream job. I've wanted to teach English since I was a little kid. My boyfriend, 23 male, works at his dad's security firm and, to his own admission, these are not my words, has been promoted to a high level of supervisor through nepotism very quickly. Recently, I was offered a permanent position at the school I work in, which is fantastic. In Scotland, you are essentially assigned a school for your probation year, and there is no 100% guarantee you will work there following that school year. At the same time I applied for this position, the head of English department job was put up. I didn't apply for this obviously, as I am still a relatively new teacher to this school and a new teacher in general. I just do not have the experience or the departmental relationships to feel confident in this job. If I had applied, I would never even had a hope in hell in getting it. My boyfriend and I had a raging argument about it recently, out of nowhere. I was talking about the teacher who did get this job, who I love and I think she's the perfect fit. And he kicked off at me saying, I showed no ambition by not going for it, and I will be stuck in this dead position with no movement forever if I keep thinking like this. I said he didn't understand how teaching worked and that I would never even have got it if I had applied. He said that doesn't matter, and I don't know that I wouldn't have got the job, and even so should have registered my interest to seem ambitious to the higher ups at the school, the General Teaching Council and the local authority. He says he is questioning things as he doesn't want to be stuck with someone with no vision for ambition and development. I don't agree, and I just want to focus on developing my own career as a classroom teacher, a job that I totally adore and would be happy staying in for the rest of my life. This is where my life is, and I'm unbelievably happy with it. This has really made me contemplate my relationship with him, and I just don't understand how he can say these things about me when he's never even had to apply for a job or interview for a promotion ever, as his dad has just handed all his jobs and promotions to him on a platter. I have no ill will about this generally. It's great he has had the opportunities, and I have never thought about it before this argument happened, as he is so clearly speaking from a position of total privilege with no desire to learn how my career works. What am I meant to do here? I was just confused because the irony in this, she's 22, become a qualified teacher years earlier than most people, went through probation, landed a permanent position in a career that she's dreamed about since childhood. That's ambition. That's ambition right there. So what the fuck's he going on about? Meanwhile, this guy who's lecturing her about earning promotions openly admits that he's been fast-tracked through his dad's company because of nepotism. And in fact, you're the one who should be questioning the relationship in this, because he seems incapable of respecting your career. The commenter says, first of all, congratulations on finishing school and getting a degree and getting a job. That's hard work and that shows you are ambitious. Second of all, your boyfriend is uneducated and only has a job because dad gave him a job. It's time to leave him and move on to someone who's more educated and a better fit for your life. I hope he says thank you so much for your kindness. Yeah, if he doesn't apologize, I'm just going to move on. I've exhausted so much emotional energy on this, and I cannot be bothered sitting with someone who clearly resents my career this way. A commenter says, well done on completing your teacher training and securing your job. Teacher training is really tough. Your boyfriend is an idiot. He's walked into a job purely because his dad owns a company. His audacity to question your career is ridiculous. Of course, you're not going to apply for a senior role right now. You're completely right, and he's a complete fool if he can't see that. You'd have actually looked a bit daft if you had applied. You need to build your experience. That's totally normal. I'd be questioning the relationship too. He's the one lacking ambition by jumping into a job his dad got him, not you. A commenter says, wait, your boyfriend thinks you can just apply to a head position when you are effectively a fresh hire. Bro, I mean, sure, you can apply, but, your application would have just been dumpstered. Not because you're an inept or anything like that. Head departments are usually looking for a specific level of expertise and experience. Would it have hurt you? I mean, probably not. Is your boyfriend a dumbass for throwing this big of a fuss over this when you're perfectly happy where you're at right now? Absolutely. Dude flew to a lead position and expects that to be normal. Nepo babies are always going to act like Nepo babies, I see. OP replies saying, yeah, to be honest, I'd have been laughed out of that interview. And at the time I didn't know if I had a permanent position yet, so it could have put that in jeopardy. I've genuinely never even thought about his career being a product of nepotism in a negative light until now. I just feel as if it's being held over me a bit. And one more comment who says, you are extremely ambitious. You finished school, got your teaching degree, have been teaching for a year, got offered a permanent job at your school, and you're only 22 years old. This man is criticizing you for things you aren't even guilty of. This will get worse. This is a huge red flag. Do not let him gaslight you like this. He is not the man for you. He steals your joy and makes you feel like crap. I'd dump him, focus on myself for a while, and when ready, find a man who sees your amazingness and builds you up, not tears you down. Someone who makes you feel happy and doesn't criticize you. You're so young. Don't waste another day on this man. Hope he says good plan. I'm coming round to the idea of separation more and more from these comments. I'd not thought much about him being a Nepo baby before, but it seems to have knocked some screws loose in his head, to be honest. So OP does come in with their update and says my original post for context is here, and then shared the link to that and said, I spoke to my boyfriend this morning. He is adamant he is correct, despite multiple explanations of why I didn't apply for a promotion. I brought up that he doesn't understand how my job works, and he took that as a direct insult to his promotions through nepotism and started yelling at me. I called him immature and said I taught teenage boys that had better critical thinking skills than him. Maybe a bit rude. It all culminated in him grabbing my PGDE certificate in its frame off the wall and smashing the frame on the floor. The glass went everywhere and the frame is irreparable, but the certificate is fine. I chucked him out of my house, told him to never come back and have blocked his number and all his social media. I told him I made a Reddit post and to look at the comments to see his stupidity. So Jamie, if you find this post and you're lurking, do everyone a favor and shut up, preferably for the rest of your life. I'm going to get my certificate properly reframed and send the bill to his address, his dad's house. Lol. Couldn't give a shit anymore. He's a pathetic, slimy little boy with no concept of the real world. Hope he gets humbled. Good luck to the next girl is all I have to say. Thanks guys for all your help in the original post. I'm going to get blind drunk tonight. Summer holidays. May as well. Taking the certificate off the wall and smashing it on the floor. Bullet dodged indeed. Well done, OP. Commenter says congratulations. He showed his true colors when confronted about his ignorance. It's good you found out now who he really is and rid yourself of him. For what it's worth, the thing that stuck out to me about the original post wasn't really the nepotism, but the mansplaining. Despite having no experience in your field, he just assumed he knew more about your career than you did. He couldn't defer to your expertise, despite the fact that you've already demonstrated you're on a fast track for advancement. His reaction to your subsequent discussion is additional evidence that this was really the root of it. He was highly reactive to you asserting you might know more than he does about something, including your own field. The fact that he grew up with privilege may have led him to be dismissive of others, but the privilege itself does not strike me as the core issue here. He just didn't respect you. A commenter replied to that saying breaking your certificate frame over a disagreement says a lot more than the argument itself. You made the right call, ending it before that behavior escalated any further. OP replied saying, honestly I did laugh in his face after he did it. He's scrawny, jumped up wee prick at the best of times. I'm on the larger side and can easily pick him up, despite him working security. Not sure what building he's securing, so I wasn't scared. I face kids 100 times more menacing than him every day. I didn't even care if he pays the bills for the reframing. I'll probably end up settling it, but it's just funny to me to send it to his house. Maybe I'm vindictive. And there was loads of commenters suggesting the usual stuff like cameras, getting locks changed, all that good stuff. And OP did confirm that they're on the case with that. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Our next story is from BFF Problems from the Relationships subreddit. There's a couple of updates on this one. It's titled, My 21 female boyfriend, 25 male, of 7 months, has a female friend, 28 female, and some of her behavior rubs me the wrong way. So I guess I'm writing this to figure out if I'm overreacting or not. Throwaway because all people involved browse Reddit and know my main. I've been dating Rick for 7 months now. Things overall have been really great. This is my first relationship that seems to be heading in the more serious direction. I've had short relationships here and there, but this one feels different in a good way. I've met his friends and they're all quite nice. I enjoy their company. He has two really close best friends. They met through work years ago. They call themselves the Three Musketeers. Will, 26 male, and Ali, 28 female. Now Ali, she's never been mean to me, but she's never really been nice either. It was whatever, until she started doing things that started rubbing me the wrong way. For the sake of not writing an essay, I'll use points. We're at a bonfire at my parents' house. They have big parties, and when I go, I bring my friends, and we were sitting around the fire. I'm sitting beside Rick, and he comes up and sits on his lap with her back facing me. What the fuck? We were playing a board game. I honestly don't remember what it was called, but we had to write down something and hope that nobody guesses our answer. Whatever the question was, her answer was surprise sex with Rick. We were all kind of like, huh? Why would you put that? And her response was that she assumed everyone would have thought I said that. I guess it makes sense, but still, why would you put that? I was away at my family's cabin for the weekend. Rick couldn't come as he had to work 2 to 3 days we would be there, and she updated her status on Facebook numerous times saying things like, lounging around the pool, enjoying the sunshine with my fave, and tagged Rick. And who doesn't love beers and wings with their men? And tagged Rick and Will. She shared a picture through the memory feature from 3 years ago, and she's sitting on his lap and licking his face. Literally. They're very clearly drunk, and her caption was, I miss these days. And he liked it, if that matters. Anytime we go out for dinner or wings or whatever with this group, she literally always sits beside him. Sometimes she even sits in between us. It's just fucking bizarre. Whenever I bring this up to Rick, he says that nothing has ever happened between them romantically, and they've had plenty of opportunities to be a couple if they really wanted to be. But they are just friends. I just don't like it at all. I'm not one to say don't be friends with her, and I won't, but like, is this normal behavior? Like, what the fuck? I have guy friends too, and I would never act like that with them if they had a girlfriend, especially not in front of their girlfriend. But anytime something happens and I bring it up to him, he completely brushes it off and says, we're just friends. I don't want to keep bugging him about it. I'm sure me bringing it up would get old after a while. And I get that if they wanted to be together, they'd probably be together, but this really bugs me. I feel disrespected, and I get the sense that she's doing this to get a rise out of me. So I am really trying not to react, but again, it really bugs me. Am I being irrational? I honestly can't tell. He makes me feel like I am, so I don't know. Diggy says to the OP, you're not being irrational. Her behavior is several steps over the line. Your boyfriend is in deep denial about the antics of this woman who clearly spends more time wishing they would have made things work in the past than he does. Pull out all the stops in your efforts to convince your boyfriend that this is not normal friend behavior and our actions are calculated to make you feel like shit. OP quotes that last bit and says, this is exactly how I feel, and I even told him this, that I felt like she was doing this to make me feel this way. And he just said he really doesn't think she would do that, and that she's told him she really likes me. Like fuck she does. Goat says either Rick is dense as fuck or he's being disingenuous. This woman clearly wants him. You don't go sit on your friend's lap in front of his SO. She is going to continue to do things like this until he tells her not to, or you get tired of it and leave him. Opie says honestly, the sitting on his lap thing is what bothered me the most. He did say that he found that weird, but he said there's no sense in bringing it up because it was a one-off thing. Yet she posted another picture of her sitting on his lap. However, we weren't dating at the time, so I guess I can't be upset. Still am though. Commenter replies saying, so she sat in his lap in front of you at your parents' house. She's disrespectful as fuck and needs to be gone. Opie says completely agree. My mum saw and she was like, the fuck is this bitch? Cold says, I was kind of on your boyfriend's end of things where I let a relationship get inappropriate. I never would have kissed her or anything, but things went too far. My girlfriend at the time would get mad at me and I would insist that we were just friends. What she said to get me to realize I was fucking up was, would you feel comfortable telling me everything that happened between you two and what was going on through your mind? And I realized that the answer was no, and I distanced myself the fuck away from that friendship. Ask him something to the effect of, would you answer me honestly if I asked you if you liked it when she sat in your lap? And hopefully he'll realize what he's doing. Opie says that's actually a very good way to put things. However, I've asked things like, how would you feel if the roles were reversed and I was sitting on my guy friend's lap and hanging off him all the time? And his reply was that he wouldn't mind because he trusts me and knows we're just friends. Sure. So I have a feeling the answer to this will be similar, but I will try that and see what happens. Thank you for your advice. Another commenter says, I had a female friend like that. We'd chill in a jacuzzi around midnight. Other times she'd be buck naked in my apartment trying to make her ass clap. What? Nothing ever happened between us. Not even so much as a kiss. She never indicated interest, so that minimal attraction in the beginning faded. Then I got into a relationship and all that stuff stopped because I really didn't want to make my girlfriend uncomfortable, ever. I stopped all that shit and placed boundaries on my platonic friendships. Even if Rick doesn't have the same kind of friendship I had, the onus is still on him to place boundaries. The onus is still on you to mention being uncomfortable. Opie says, well, the thing is, I have mentioned it quite a few times, but all he ever says is that he swears it's completely platonic. There's zero attraction, and if he did want to be together, they've had plenty of opportunities and neither took them. I can sense his annoyance, starting with me bringing it up. I guess I need to be more clear about how it makes me really feel, but then I guess I'm the crazy girlfriend, or at least that's how I'm led to feel. That I'm overreacting because nothing will ever happen. Feels good. But Ali is an absolute huge problem and doesn't respect your relationship at all. But Rick is an even bigger problem, isn't he? Because Ali can only do these things like sitting on his lap and these Facebook statuses and reminiscing about licking his face and all this if Rick allows it to happen. And he's not addressing the actual issue, is it? Just coming out with "we're just friends" is not addressing the issue. The issue is his girlfriend is feeling disrespected, and instead of turning around and saying, yeah, her sitting on my lap wasn't right, it was inappropriate, and I'll make sure it won't happen again, he turns around and just minimizes her feelings instead. And I don't believe him when you said about the whole roles reverse thing that he wouldn't care. It's a very easy thing to say when it's hypothetical, right? But I doubt he'd be completely fine if Opie was posting photos of her licking another man's face, joking about surprise sex with him, etc. But Opie comes in with their first update and says, alright, so a lot has gone on in the last 24 hours, so here we go. Okay, so I was not expecting this much attention or advice, so thank you to everyone who took the time to help me out. The major consensus was that I was not overreacting. I really didn't think I was either, and that Ali's behavior was not cool. So Rick and I were hanging out last night, and I took the advice of a user called Cold, and at a suitable time asked him how he feels when Ali's sitting on his lap, etc., and if he would feel comfortable telling me what's going on in his head at those times. He told me, exasperatedly, that nothing goes on in his head since they're just friends and he doesn't know what else to tell me. Shocker. I mentioned that I made this post. He asked to see it. I thought it might make him see things more clearly, that her behavior is inappropriate, but he actually got angry. We've never really fought before. I think he was upset because he knew he was wrong, but basically he was like, so what now? I can't be friends with her anymore? I can't have any female friends because you're threatened. I explained that I'm not threatened per se, and I would never ask him to defriend anyone, but I feel disrespected when she does these things and asked if he'd be willing to ask her to back down a bit. Well, he broke down and told me that he had lied to me. They have slept together before, numerous times, mostly while drunk at parties, etc., and that there are underlying feelings. Shocker. He says he doesn't have them for her, but she's expressed hers to him before. He says he isn't interested in pursuing a relationship with her at all, but she does get jealous and try to mark her territory. Apparently, this has caused issues in previous relationships, on both sides, and he does know it's a problem, but he does not want to hurt her feelings because she's sensitive. The fuck? Basically, I broke up with him after that. Not only was I pissed that he blatantly lied to my face about anything happening between them, but he put her before me anyways by refusing to cut her inappropriate behavior or telling her to stop. And I don't think he ever would have put me first anyways. I told him I refused to be anyone's second choice and did not want to be put in between this drama. I also told him he needs to figure his shit out, otherwise he's going to fuck up every good relationship he has. He tried to beg me not to go, but fuck that shit. I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm so pissed off and seriously want to go punch this stupid bee in the face and maybe kick him in the balls too. But since life doesn't work that way, here I am. 7 months wasted, but lesson learned. I'm going to my friends for wine night tonight, and I'm going to have a good fucking time. I'm annoyed that she wins in a way now, but I deserve better, so bye Felicia. Thanks again to everyone for their advice. It's much appreciated and made me realize a lot of things I didn't see. So thank you for that. So Opie then comes in with their final update and says, hello my Reddit friends. I want to say thank you so much for all your kind words via comments and PMs, even if I didn't reply. I read every comment and I appreciate all, well, most of them. You guys are so great and really made me feel better during a hard time. I felt comfort when I really needed it. And for those of you who called me a badass, thank you. I've never been called a badass before and I think that's damn cool. So a few things transpired in the last 48 hours and I thought you guys might be interested. So I blocked and deleted both Rick and Ali from Facebook after the whole fiasco on Friday. I haven't heard from Rick at all on Saturday, which was great because I was still obviously pretty upset. But I went out and had a much needed good time with my friends. It was my mum's birthday yesterday, so since we're both a touch hungover and it was blizzardly outside, I just went to her place and we watched movies all day. Then had an awesome dinner, compliments of my dad. It was a nice day. We were laying on the couch after dinner and I get a text, a long text from a number I didn't know. I started reading it and realized it was from Ali. I never had her number, otherwise I probably would have blocked that too. But anyways, this is word for word what she had the audacity to send me. Hi. So I heard about what happened with Rick, and I really don't know what any of us did to you to make you hate us so much. We've been nothing but nice to you and treated you as if you were one of our friends, and then we find out from Rick that you broke his heart because you don't like us. I'm over at Rick's right now and he told me the whole story. He's really upset. It seems like you didn't even give him or us a chance. At least I'm staying here to take care of him, otherwise he probably wouldn't be eating nothing. Just thought I'd let you know that you made a big mistake letting him go, but at least I'm here to help him feel better. He deserves better. Have a nice life. Opie then continues saying I have no idea what the hell Rick is telling people about this breakup, because it sounds like he told her I hate all his friends, not just her. And it doesn't even sound like he told her the actual reason for me breaking up with him, because she didn't mention a thing about her inappropriate behavior. Sounds like Rick just painted me out as a bad guy who disliked his friend group, so I left him. What the fuck? Like, what point is she trying to get across here? She goes from saying I made a mistake to rubbing in my face that she's there to take care of him now. Honestly, it made me want to vomit. I wanted to give you the word for word just so you guys could see what I had to read. I thought it's from a 13-year-old at first. Seriously, who types like that? So, after my mum and I had a good laugh at that. Although I will say that my heart hurt a bit, but laughing helped. So did my mum and wine. I get a few texts from Rick. I should have blocked his number beforehand, I guess. Basically telling me Ali isn't here, I swear, and please come over so we can talk, and don't listen to Ali, and all this weird shit. So honestly, I don't even know what the hell is going on over there. I don't know who's lying, who's saying what, but I hate drama and I do not want to be a part of it. Like, this girl is almost 30. What the hell? It doesn't really make sense that she would lie about being there. The text from Rick sounded more like him covering his ass, so I don't think he's doing anything with her, but who knows. Also, I always went to his place, so the fact that he asked if he could come to mine to talk leads me to think that she actually is over there. I haven't replied to either of them. I haven't blocked them either. I know that silence is probably better, but I'd love to say something so good just to put them both in their place. This whole situation is just too much. Crazy how much life can change in so little time. My life was a lot different 62 hours ago. My head is spinning. I always knew my mum was awesome, but after this weekend I've realized she's actually so much more awesome than I ever imagined. I'll be lost right now without her and my friends, and also my Reddit friends. You guys help me out more than you know. I'm more here just so you guys can get a kick out of this because my mum and I sure did. However, I guess I'm also asking if I should just be silent and block their numbers. You know, the high road, or if you guys think I should say something. And if so, what should I say? Let me just say that I have no interest in getting back together whatsoever. This guy, who I actually loved, is wrapped up around this chick's finger, and it quite honestly makes me sick that it took me posting to Reddit to figure it out. But I'm not gonna lie. I want to say something so good that will make both their heads spin, because I'm a badass, right? But I'm so emotionally drained I can't think straight. So what should I do? Opia then gives a TLDR and then says, edit, forgot to mention one more thing. When I was out getting drunk on Saturday, Will fucking texted me at like 1:30 AM saying, hey, what are you doing? I didn't answer. I actually didn't even remember until the next day, and I'm like, wow, where are all the good people gone? Edit. So after seeing everyone's replies, I think it's best for me to continue the radio silence, as I think you guys are right, and that I'd probably drive them more crazy than saying anything at all. As much as I would love to say lol K or new phone who is this, I think it would have been effective had I said that shortly after, not a day after. My head was simply not thinking clearly enough yesterday to think of such responses. I blocked both their numbers, as well as Will's, so thank you again for the support and advice. I feel better, even on this dreary Monday. Cheers. So a commenter said to OP, continue to ignore them. That's the best way to prove you aren't willing to be a participant in this childish drama. Seriously, responding only gives them an opportunity to pull you back in. Be the bigger person and let them figure out that they're losers in this situation. A commenter, who was heavily downvoted, says, childishly ignoring a problem isn't dealing with the problem, and it's not being the bigger person, it's irresponsible. OP replied saying, I don't feel like I'm childishly ignoring or being irresponsible, I just don't think I owe them anything. However, I'd like to say something as I said. So, what is it that you suggest then? I don't really feel like I owe him any more of an explanation. If I say anything, it'll be more of a fuck you both, in not so many words. I have no interest in reconciling or proving anything to them. I Work Hard says, love your mum. I'm an r/relationships addict, and it's just so nice to see a post about an awesome mum. One question, will you drinking white Zinfandel out of a box? Because that is the sort of what I'm picturing in my head. Opie says, I learned an important lesson from my mum when I moved out, and that was to always make sure you have a box of wine in the fridge in case of emergency. So you better believe we were drinking wine out of a box last night. Keto B says, it almost seems Will might be on your side. It mean to block him. You might find stuff out if you talk to him. Opie says, I don't see it as being on my side. I see it as him being a shitty friend, to be honest. Isn't that against some sort of bro code or something? I don't think it's mean to block him. I just think it's necessary. I don't need my ex's friends texting me. I'm not interested. I also don't need to find stuff out. I already know all I need to know. I don't need Will for anything. He's with them. And I don't need them in my life. And I don't agree with that commenter who said about childishly ignoring the problem isn't dealing with a problem, because let's face it, the problem's already been dealt with. They're no longer a part of OP's life, and I totally agree that just moving on, taking the air quotes high road if you like, and not saying anything is far more effective than actually saying something. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly is absolutely amazing. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.